Hello and welcome to our live show. This is Brett and myself, Mark Faust, and welcome to the live stream here. Just trying to see if anyone has actually switched on and is here to see what's going on. So say hello, Brett, and
Hello, Mark.
see how everything is going there.
Thank you for having me on. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the chat.
How you going, Brett? Yeah, it's been a while since you've been on here with me. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one where we can actually have a good old chat about something.
That's true. So, yeah. And I believe you've got a few fair things to talk about tonight and things to share.
Yeah, so here we go. We've got our first guest in the room. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Michelle.
How's it going?
Good to see you again.
So just checking our audio if everything is coming through okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, first things up, we just want to introduce ourselves. So we've got Brett Harris to my right, to my left, screen left, and you can actually, so we can just basically, Brett is a Sony advocate for Sony Australia. And I am basically Mark Faust, a professional photographer, fashion photographer, and we just decided to actually be here and talk with everyone about what's going on with the coronavirus and photography in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All sounds great, says Michelle, so there's no echo. I'm just, I'm sort of dealing with a little bit of echo between two audios, so no problems. Okay, so first story that we've actually got to talk about is the Australia live chat that actually streamed just the other day. Obviously, there was actually some interesting conversation going on with Mark Gaylor and the other advocates, as well as Sean from Sony Australia. And we got some good information out of them, whereby they actually talked about the future and what is going on, etc. So we know exactly that the Australian photography competition is still going ahead, is that right, Brett?
Yeah, I believe so. It's the Sony Alpha Awards 2020. Yeah, it's still going ahead, as far as I know. I don't know much else about it, so yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now, with the Sony Awards, I might just blend in the actual web screen so we can actually see what the hell we are talking about. There was an international competition that actually went on, so we'll just have a little chat about that, I guess. So I'll just blend that in. Let me fly over here and bring this up. Okay, so with the competition, we actually had this is the World Photography Organization that actually staged all this, And with that, we also got to hear that there were a lot of Australians that competed and won, actually. So congratulations to all the people that actually won this. Yeah, so in the categories, we can see that there was actually architecture, culture, creative, motion, landscape, natural world, wildlife, portraiture, travel, street photography, still life. So there was a lot of categories. Brett, did you hear about the winners, etc., of how it all went? Brett, can you hear me? Okay, so we have to... No, it looks like Brett has gone offline. Hang on a second, just got to fix this and just see if Brett can sort this. We can.
Well,
so Brett can't hear me.
Sorry, Brett. You can
Sorry,
hear me now,
Brett. You can hear me now, can you?
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
quite amazing. A lot of good. Have we frozen up?
Hey, Quippy, how are you?
Hey, Quippy, how are
Good to
you?
see you live.
Good to see you live. The other way around now, right?
All the time. Yeah, so I think you're in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You're sort of locked up.
yeah, the audio is still.
yeah, the audio is still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
now, with
now
no
with
further to say, we just go
no
into,
further
how
to say,
about
we just go into. How about we
architecture
just
and
go
see
into
the galleries
architecture
here?
and we just see the galleries here.
Let's just let this come up.
Let's just let this come up.
How did you go on there, Mark? It looks like it.
Okay,
Yep.
so
Okay, so we have got
the category winner has been
the category
Rosario
winner has been
Sabrina
Rosario Sabrina
Pantano from Italy.
Pantano
which
from
is
Italy, which is
this image here.
this image here.
So this looks very.
So
much like
this
a pyramid.
this looks very much like a pyramid.
think, Brett,
What do you think, Brett?
about this image.
About this image?
I think we lost Brett.
I think we lost Brett.
Have I lost you, Brett?
Have I lost you, Brett?
Yeah, I think Brett is frozen up.
Yeah, I think Brett is frozen up on me.
Yeah, the contrast in the image is
Yeah, the
amazing.
contrast in the image is amazing, isn't it, Quippy?
So we've actually got.
So we've actually got
this pyramid
basically
looking,
this
but it's
pyramid-looking thing, but it's also
also, like what Mark Gaylor said.
like what
was
Mark
that
Gaylor
we,
said was that we
had a bit of a problem. Where
had
it
a bit of a
actually,
problem where it actually
it looked a bit strange.
It
where you
looked a
actually
bit
look at
strange
it
where you
and
actually
it
look at
goes
it
into.
and it goes into.
It looks like a doorway.
It looks like a doorway,
like a
black hole where you
It's
actually go
quite
into. It's
interesting.
quite
So
interesting.
It's an
So
interesting contrast.
it's an interesting contrast.
Now let's just have a look at a few.
Now let's just have a look
of the other,
at a few of the other
images that were actually
in architecture.
So these were all the runners.
So
up,
these
I
were
guess,
all the runners up, I guess.
that
That
we had coming up.
we had coming up.
Are you still there?
Are you
Brett?
still there, Brett?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm hearing you all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's double
But-
audio.
Okay,
coming
so there's
through,
double
so,
audio coming through, so I need to.
You can't hear me.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. So just I think the audio is fixed now. Can someone let me know if the audio is fixed? Yeah, I can still hear you, Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting picture, isn't it? Like it's an overhead. I wonder how they did that with a. That must have been a drone shot, obviously, top down.
Okay, they can hear us now. Apparently, Mark. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had two microphones running at the same time. That's why we got echo.
But anyhow, getting back at that image we were talking about, the pyramid.
Okay, let's just go back to this pyramid and I'll explain it all again. Okay, so yep.
Yeah, well, Mark Gala and some of the Sony advocates were talking about this image. It's Mark Gala was going on about the actual black shadow part of the pyramid looks like a black door leading into nowhere. It's just this odd shape, triangle shape, and that and sitting in the middle of nowhere basically. But the way it was shot, definitely you've got a lot of highlights and contrast between could be the foreground and the background could be actually blown out a bit to get that more dynamic range, because the pyramid is the black triangle. I mean, it's pretty simple and that, but pretty effective. So I don't mind it. It's something different. So
yeah. So it is a real interesting. I don't. Where was this actually in Italy? Or is the photographer from Italy? Open Competition Architecture 2020. Yeah. So it's it doesn't really tell us too much. It actually doesn't really. Because this was an open competition from what I understand, and anyone could enter. It doesn't matter if it was a Sony camera or not. Yep. So this is interesting to actually this could have been shot very well on any other camera. It's just the artistic ability that is really interesting. I mean, we've got a leading road in. We've got this one person actually here to actually give us an idea of the scale. That's a real interesting part of it all, and it's well executed. Like, I mean, if it was color, you probably would have lost a fair bit, because you would have had maybe a blue sky and you would have had too much contour going on. So this is really a good shot for black and white, obviously. And
are you actually on the other shot?
Okay, so I'm just switching over to the Nake shot here. Sorry, Brett. Yep. I'll just get you to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I can see what you're seeing now. You're looking at the road. Yeah.
You see that? There you go. Okay, so this is basically like a half house. Again, it's set in the snow, and it's the house actually gets balanced by the trees, so it's actually sort of like the stark contrast between nature and architecture. And don't forget, this is actually the architecture section of the competition. And again, this is this top down I was actually talking about, and that's really interesting as well. What do you think about this top down, Brett?
Well, it's really a drone shot, really, isn't it? So
I think it's very much a drone shot, and it's just
I think
color-wise, it's really interesting.
It gets me is the leading line coming from the edge of the frame, and you've got this sort of rectangle, cut-off rectangle with little circles inside, and it's pretty creative pattern effect when you're looking down on top of things. So,
exactly.
You're not getting.
So I just got to say hello to everyone that's
Yep.
new in at the moment. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, welcome.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So yeah.
it's a very interesting pattern, and I think I know this. I've never been to it, but it's actually in the United Kingdom, in England. It's actually on a jetty. I don't know what the name is of this place. Yeah, good tonality, as Quippy says. Like, I mean, it's yeah, yeah.
Well, it doesn't show.
I agree.
Where these images are actually taken from, but yeah.
Yeah, but I know just from knowing that this actually exists and it's actually in England. It's just a theme park basically on a out on the water.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just shoot over to the next one. It's actually a one-way street with an
Yeah.
arrow. So it's, I mean, don't forget this is all architecture, and we are just looking at the runner-ups of. So the pyramid was actually the winning.
Yeah.
Um,
Lauren, then what's that
person
to
that
say
actually
in
was.
Brighton Pier? So
Brighton Pier. That's it.
there you go. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I think so too, Lauren. I think you're right. It's Brighton Pier. Yeah. So this is I'm in one-way street with fencing. So it's. I mean, this goes deeply into architecture, where you actually look at the leading lines and the arrow that this concrete wall is actually forming, and you actually will see the so there's a bit of contradiction there as well, where you got the arrow going out and no way you can go in sort of sign there. So it's yeah. So the workman on up the top there, high risk work area, I would say. So this is again, it's part of the architecture. Do you want to maybe we should hop out of this and go into another into the
Yeah, if you go into the
into another category.
I think you go into culture. Yep, and there's a guy there from Australia, Antoniolini, Vinny.
Oh, are you talking about that
Yep.
train?
No.
Yeah.
The culture one, the very first guy that's won the winner.
Culture.
Yep, the culture.
Yeah. I'm
Is
going
it
into
staying
culture
guy?
now. Here we go. Yeah. What's that with? Is that Iggy Pop?
Yep, that's Nicky Pop.
Was that the Australian winner?
Yes, yeah. I have to mention.
Yeah. So this is
There is,
just refreshing at the moment.
there is a fair few Australians in the Sony World Comp that have made it into the top finalists and stuff like that and run up,
Yeah.
and actually
Yeah.
won. So there's a few categories
Yeah.
that Australians done really well in the Sony photo awards. So yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Was it Antoine Velling from Australia win open competition culture? So congratulations if you hear us. Yeah, it's well done. I like this image. It's really good. It's I don't know how it was strobed, where the light was actually coming from.
Yep.
So there's shadow on the left hand side of his
Yeah,
face.
that would be.
So it was coming from
studio.
another side there
Yeah.
somewhere. It's interesting.
Well, it's coming.
It's interesting because I don't think it's not coming from this camera.
No, it's coming from the top. If you
Or-
look down, and you see the shadows cast.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yep,
top down.
That's it. Yep,
So is it the
Yep.
spotlight that's actually
the
doing
spot-
this?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. Great shot actually. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, this is just culture.
Mm.
Yeah. So empty seats in the stadium by the looks of it. Interesting colours. Yeah.
by the way, but just to give people advice when if you're entering competitions such as Sony, world photography or even Alfie Awards and that, judges are looking something really different, something with a bit of wow factor. Something.
Yeah, I agree. Hang on, I'll just I'll bring us back.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not your typical sunset, over a beach or whatever like that. Those sort of shots are not going to get into awards. You need to really come up with something creative and something really raw, bend the rules a bit, and get the judges your attention what you shot. And as for example, you've seen what March just put up on the screen, all these different images and that they're all telling a story, and have a point of view, and so forth, different colours, and it's a lot to mention and talk about. So we're not going to go through all of these or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, the basically what the judges want, or what we've heard that the judges want, is more the out of the box thinking. Like really, if you are entering, you got to really impress the judges by being different. So they obviously they get thousands of entries, and if you're doing a sunset, for instance, the judges have seen the sunsets 1,000 times. Doesn't matter which part of the world you're in, the sunsets are always going to be sunsets. I mean, unless they are actually something completely different and that they have not seen before, like where you actually got, I don't know, maybe a sunset happening between rocks or something like that, to make it differentiating from other images. So you got to have something that people haven't seen before. So it's basically, and it's got to look pleasing, obviously. So it's a tough old world out there. But obviously there are rewards, monitorial or whatever the competition gives you. But you will also get the rewards in kind in any other way as well, because you will get noticed a lot more. People will hire you easier because you are a competition winner, etc. You might even get job offers from it. So your whole world can change. It's possible. Yeah. There was some mention about someone that actually Mark Gaylor had an understudy with him. Is that right? To one of his competitions a few years back, and who got snapped up and hired by a larger company as a photographer, and so he's still in Europe and working over there. So
he was going to head back to Australia, but they said why?
Yeah, why do you want to head back to Australia? There's work here. So Quippy, I'll just bring up this. Quippy said, I have entered into WPPI back in 2010, and the picture that made me receive accolades were, at least for me, the black and white ones. I found colour was more critical. It had to really be exceptional. Yeah, exactly, right. So you really have to stand out. I mean, there are so many competitors when you enter, and the judges are really going to just, they want to see something amazing, something mind-blowing, and it again, don't be discouraged by entering once in one competition and not getting anywhere, and whereby you might enter in a totally different competition and you will win. So it's we've heard of people getting nowhere and nothing, and they came up, they were runner-up in 70th position in one competition, and they won the other competition. So it's every judge has got a different taste. It's a bit like food. Everyone eats different food, and so the taste of the judges in artistic flair and what they are looking for is completely different as well. So, but being different and not just doing the sunset shot is probably something to think about.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, everybody in the chat, please give Mark a like on his channel, and
give me a like and subscribe and thumbs up, and everything sounds everything sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for that, Brett. Okay, well, how about we talk about images that we've just taken. Brett and I, we were twirling our thumbs at home, and we had to come up with some other way of entertaining ourselves photographically. Obviously, we can't go anywhere in these times, so we Brett approached it in one direction, and I approached it in a different direction. Without actually talking with each other, we came up with two different concepts. Now I'll just bring up. How about if I bring up yours first, Brett, and we'll just have a bit of a chat about it. And there you go. Lauren hit the subscribe button. Oh my god!
Thank you.
So my numbers are just going up all the time, Brett.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll throw us back onto the screen here, and unfortunately, I can't have you, Brett.
That's all right.
Live, so there's your picture, the picture of you. I just set that up as in remembrance of you. Okay, so now let's bring up the first picture. The first picture is probably the last picture that you actually gave me.
Yeah.
And do you want to just discuss this?
Well, okay. Very good question. There's a tree out the back of our house, and it's in full bloom at the moment, as you can see by the purple plants and so forth. It's actually hedged, and there's just millions and millions of butterflies all over it. And I thought I tried to do some video and some actually getting shots. And now the thing is, you've got to remember with these particular shots of butterflies, they're never in one place for too long. So they're constantly moving and everything. So I had to be in continuous focus, high shutter speeds, lens open wide, and I had to find a happy medium of whatever I was using, a flexible span point for focusing that worked well, and I can get very accurate into. I'm more interested in getting the head of the butterfly than anything else. As long as I get that sharp, but I can get that point to happen. But I'm in about mid-range shutters, continuous shutter, so I'm holding it down. I'm probably firing about 3-5 frames a second. But I didn't need to go up to 10 frames a second on the A7 III. But anyhow, and trying to get the obvious and just a simple shot. Sometimes you'll just get them way out the end of the branch and so forth. But you don't get any, you might get a bit of blue sky or whatever, and that looks pretty ordinary. But I wanted to get something where the butterfly is actually pretty much inside the bush, and use the framing of the busyness around the butterfly. But you've got to shoot it in such a way that it was making a frame around it, but it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it is busy. But you see the depth.
Some foreground interest is actually important, isn't it? Yeah.
And that big yellow patch of orange at the top right-hand corner, left-hand corner. Sorry.
Yep.
That was actually about.
I will enlarge it a bit more here.
It was actually a butterfly coming into the shot, and it was highlighted by the sunlight coming in. So it was
Yeah.
so close to the lens, it blurred it out. So it looks like a sun.
So how far away were you from the butterfly?
Oh, probably about a meter, bit over a meter away.
A meter.
Yeah. I think.
So is that the focal length of the 135? Not 100% sure.
What's that?
The minimum focal length, the distance.
The minimum is about, I believe it's a meter and half, a meter point 1.3.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's not a very close-up lens that people think it might be. Not
I'll go and get that lens.
yeah. But anyhow, it's about roughly a bit over a meter where I got into that shot. So, but I framed it in such a way I had to be very, very quick, continuous focusing all the time. Yeah, and you don't have much time to get shots. So these sort of things, you just got to find the right focus setting, and obviously continuous focus and your higher shutter frame rate, and yeah. Yep.
So I'll just switch us over for 1 second. Okay, so the actual lens that we are talking about is the Sony 135 lens. It's a 135 1.8. This is the lens that you use, isn't it? The 135.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a very sharp focusing lens, autofocus. For the people that are non-Sony here, and it's a great lens to have if you're actually in the Sony lineup.
The focusing
135, it's a little bit long. You got to be a little bit further away from your subject, but as Brett already said, here is. Hang on a second, that's the wrong picture. There you go. Yeah, so how about do you want me to move on to the next picture, Brett? Okay, so just let me use this and bring up another one.
Everyone, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hang on, let me bring this up in a different way to actually enlarge it. Yep, that's it. Okay, so now this is a beautiful picture that you took in your studio.
That's
is that right?
correct. Yeah. This is still life, obviously. I did some white roses as well, and other colours, but this was a backlit shot, and it's what they call a backlit shot, rimmed. So there's only one light coming from the back, but if you look in the background, it's actually black. You don't see a light at all. So
Right.
behind that black is a bit of cardboard that's sitting on the softbox, and it's the cutout, and it's leaving a strip of edge light all the way around the cardboard and giving a rim light. The next image that Mark will show you how it was shot.
Yep.
But what it does, it highlights, gives you a rim light all across the leaves and the light, the rows and that, and you can see the backlight coming through the leaves and that and there. As Mark's shown as well there, as well here, my setup had my camera on the tripod. You can see the softbox in the background there that's got a black cardboard cutout.
Yeah, interestingly, you got it all tethered up as well there to your laptop.
Yeah, and it's also tethered with the laptop because I'm using the laptop as my metering, and plus it's also allowing me to send the images straight into my laptop and not pull the card out and come back to and doing it that way as well. So,
in just a second, Brett, the feed has just dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry everyone, we're running a bit behind with the feed here. Interesting. But that's something out of I can't really control this. It's actually
depending on how many people are online as well.
yeah,
So,
exactly. It's just one of those things when the gamers come on. It's
yeah,
probably when it all happens. But we're feeding again, so that's fine.
yep. So yeah, but as you can see, the setup, there, Mark's showing you there now. That was how it was done. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just one light, and that was strobe light too, not continuous light. So yeah,
Yep.
and it's not a macro
So,
spot either. It's still light. So even though I was using then the 90mm macro because it's really
Thanks for letting me know, Lauren. By the way.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's the feed. The feed was dropped out.
yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much. If anybody wants to ask me more questions, I'll see in the comments over here. And yeah,
Yeah.
so we can move on to Mark's.
Yeah, I mean, you got the trigger there as well. You probably obviously brought that up already. So it's yeah, it's an interesting setup. I like the actual the rim light that you actually get out of it. Then so it's interesting.
Yeah. And
On the actual flower. So.
The Bluetooth remote control to take the shots as well, not to,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can actually see the rim light going around there, and it's really nicely done.
it's roughing around your subject. So depending
Yeah.
where you put your
Was that a 90mm macro lens or what was
a
it?
90mm macro, yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Good shot. Okay, so I'll just I'll pop up some of my images, whether or not they're actually all exactly in alignment or not.
Just
That's
hang
a
on for a
question.
minute.
Okay, so yep.
Someone's asking, what are your Instagram handles?
Okay, so Hard Shah. My Instagram handle is actually in the description box in the bottom. You'll find it in there. I'm at my Instagram is at Mark Faust Photography. Yours, Brett, is
It's just B Harris Photography in Instagram, and
yeah. So it's B Harris Photography. I might actually enter that into the actual into the box later on. In when you actually review it, you'll see it in there, which I can do later on. So that's all good. Yeah, so I mean, all my details are there in the actual description box. If anyone wants to have a look, just have a look down. Okay, so this is basically just a fun shot that I decided to take. I was actually eating some fruit, believe it or not. I thought, well, why not? Might as well have a go at it. I actually found this glass in my cupboards that was actually it looks like a normal sized glass, but it's a little bit bigger. It's like a coffee
like a
holder, coffee bean holder. So it's a bit larger than average. All the water that you see, all the bubbles and everything, are actually water. So there is no soda or anything like that. Nothing fancy. It's just H2O with chopped up fruit. And believe it or not, I mean, I chopped up an apple. It was a quarter of an apple, and I chopped that really small. A lemon, which was maybe, look, I mean, a quarter of a lemon again, and then there was tomato as well, so a quarter of a tomato. So it's not much of fruit that you need to actually establish this. So it's not really fruit that's wasted or anything like that. It's very minimal effort to get this done. The only problem that I came across was I initially tried shooting this with a strobe, and it was just very hard. It was a hit and miss. Here's another image that I took at the same time. So this was actually done with a strobe, and you will see that it's I got lucky in this shot. but the flow wasn't strong enough. So I decided to not only shoot with a LED light that was actually constantly on, and I could actually just raise my frames per second to. I mentioned it was 20 frames per second, but it's actually not. It's actually 15 frames per second because of the lens that I use. It actually reduced it down a bit. But it helped a lot in getting the right shot. I could have been here all day working on it until the shot was perfect, but it's worked out really well. And then I also did stacking with the image. So this image is actually stacked. So there's five images all thrown together, and I was running it through Lightroom, and then did all the stacking in Photoshop. So it's just a hit and miss thing where you can play around with it, and it's just a bit of a fun thing to do. Okay, so here you can actually see how it was done roughly. Just a large diffuser on the back, and the glass with a bit of plastic card that I bought from the newspaper shop ages ago, while it was still open. I don't even think that newspaper shops are open nowadays, are they? No, they're closed. And it's just a cup and throwing water with the fruit in there and then pouring it into the glass, and that's it. So when you do this, just make sure you don't do it over carpet, just make sure it's on tiles, etc. So it's easier to sweep up afterwards and mop up. I actually had a bucket underneath, and I just dragged all the water off the card and poured it into the bucket, and there was no problems at all. So, little effort with a lot of gain, I would say. Yeah, exactly, Quippy. I mean, it's experimenting with stuff is really interesting. I mean, I'm more into, because I'm just looking at my fridge. I'm going, well, what have I got, and should I actually need it? The light that I use is the SL150 Godox LED. You could have also used. You can put a flash into the diffuser, like a small flashlight, and it will just take you more goes because the refresh rate on the flash is not as good. So you got like 1 second of refresh rate. So every time you pour, you can only maybe get one shot, and then you got to try and pour again and restart again, do it all over again.
We just had someone just said I had the urge for something from Boost Juice,
Boost Juice. Yeah, see, like, I mean, that's Boost Juice is going to get in contact with me, I think, sooner or later, and see if I can do a deal with them. Okay, and here you can just see my setup. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's just a picnic table with the camera and the lens. I actually had the trigger on there from previous attempts, which was just using a flashlight, and that was sort of like a mega pickings because of the 1 second refresh rate, as I already explained. Just sitting on a tripod with the diffuser and with the actual LED on the back, and a wired up trigger, which is what are they, about, I don't know, $20 from eBay or something like that. So it's not a big issue to get that all done. So I had it on high frame rate, high frame plus, and electronic shutter on the A9. And it was just a matter of firing away, and just have your settings right in manual.
Rippy was asking how could you sync the shutters to the speed, the continuous lights, all the way up to 1/8 of 8,000.
Yeah, the shot was taken at 1,600 or 1,000, somewhere around there of a second. And I didn't have any problems with the LED, with the actual hertz rate on it. So yeah, so I didn't even consider it, to be honest, because it all came up alright, and I didn't have to do any adjustments.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. So there was no frequency problems or anything like that. No pulsing. Is that what you're talking about, Quippy, or is because there was no syncing required, you know? So the actual trigger that's actually sitting on my camera is from a previous attempt, so I didn't even bother. I just left it on the camera, but it wasn't necessary for running it on that Godox LED light. Yeah.
We're sort of lagging a bit at the moment again, Mark.
Yeah, I know, but it's yeah, not much I can do about it. It's just YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about the lag, everyone. I might be able to... Can I drop this back in the fly?
Anybody have any more questions to ask us of the previous images of Mark did or what I did? Yeah. Before we go to the next segment.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look if I can drop it down a bit. I might just drop the... yeah, I can remove the high quality video and just see if that actually works, but hopefully that helps. Yeah, I'm very sorry about this, folks. It's out of my hands. It's really YouTube and the traffic that's going through at the moment online. I'm connected with NBN, so that it should not be such an issue.
Plus that Mark and I are actually synced up in Skype. That's how we can
Skype is resource hungry as well.
And obviously our Skype feed is actually flowing into Mark's system to the live feed in YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, so here you can actually just see the actual, you know, what I'm dealing with. I think this was a previous shot when I was actually still shooting with a flashlight. But you can roughly see what it would have, yeah, what the situation was. You know, clamping down the card, and it's got so many uses that actually, because it's plastic card and it's not cardboard, so the water doesn't actually seep into it. You just wipe it off. It's sort of like a waver. I don't know what it's called, like a thin waver sort of material. Craft, is it some sort of craft? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, so I'll just flash us back.
Yeah, we can blame NBN, Laura. Yes. Yeah. That's right.
If in doubt, NBN them out. Yeah, it's crazy sometimes, you know, that we are in 2020 and we're still dealing with problems of live streaming. Yeah, it's I think a lot of phone companies and line companies and data companies are going to really scratch their heads, and they'll at the moment. What about you, Quippy? Is it fairly speedy over on your end? I mean, you were always having some issues on your live show, because Quippy, Brett, I don't know if you know Quippy, but he does live shows as well now.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. But then he just asked you another question.
Yeah, sorry, meant to actually, as would the continuous lighting cause any flicker at all if you shot that high shutter speed 1/8000ths. Yeah, again, I haven't tried out this light as a at 1/8000ths of a second. I think it will get to a rate. I mean, at 1/8000ths of a second, you might actually just see, you could possibly see something with the actual banding, or What do you think, Brett? Would you agree?
Uh,
I mean, I don't know what the hertz rate is on this light.
it's really depending on the light. Well, I mean, that's a Godox light, so it's an LED.
Yeah,
It's not going to have big issues of like, say, a fluorescent light or something like that. So, yeah. But technically, when you're dealing with LED lighting and stuff like that, if there is a flicker, all you're basically just doing, you either turn your aperture or your shutter speed and dial up and down until the actual flicker is actually gone. And then you know you're right. So you will actually see it in the screen. So if you do get a flicker and you're dialing your shutter speed up or down, or your aperture, one of the two, or your ISO, which one you need to change first, and then as soon as you dial it up or down, you'll see the flicker go away. And
yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with the live feed, you know, because I've got monitors running, and I've got a the screen where I bring up the pictures is actually a TV screen, an 1080p, and the hertz rate of that is, I think, 150th, 160th, and so it's 60 hertz, 50 or 60 hertz. So you got to, when you're doing a live feed, you got to synchronize the camera to the same hertz speed, otherwise you'll get flicker. And you can probably see that in Brett's feed. He's got a what have you got there? A fluoro light up the top there, and that's why you have a bit of flicker happening. Yeah, so it's not much you can do with web cameras. Web cameras are just not that adjustable, but with a camera you can make the adjustment and then just ISO it up, so that works better. And right now, when you actually see the light that's actually coming down at me is actually with that same Godox light. Actually, you might be able to sort of just hear a little bit of fan noise, and that's been talked about on YouTube a lot, about this LED light, that it's actually got fan noise. But I think the new Godoxes have got that eliminated, the FL and FV versions. From what I've heard, that the fans are. You can't actually hear it. So anyone else out there that actually has got any questions? You know, we're still going. We're still at it. And if not, I'll just we'll go on to the next story then, Brett.
Yep.
Okay, so I was going to show all my current lenses, but I think I'll skip that at the moment, and I'll just go. I might branch back over to show Luminar, and just a little thing that people might not know about Luminar, where I have found something that was actually really interesting, where you can actually replicate the sun. And you can let me go into this, and while I'm talking, people might actually find this really interesting. So let's get out of here.
The Luminary.
And bring up the Luminar. Okay, so what a lot of people don't realize is that Luminar has got sky replacement, etc., but it's also got sun replacement, where you can actually position the sunlight, and you can actually create a highlight spot where where you want the sun to be, etc., and then and you can position it wherever you want. Yeah, so there you go. Quippy just said one thing that disturbs him is when I'm shooting a wedding in a large hall. Yeah, I mean, LED lights are not really there yet, you know, to actually. God, it's I mean, you are a wedding shooter, Quippy.
Yep.
So it's just one of those problems where, yeah, it's having constant light thrown on people. Some people won't like it that much. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the like the Christmas lights and stuff like that, and the older, not really much LED, but the old Hogan lights as well too. They have
Yeah.
flicker and all that too. Lippy, I can understand you of that problem because I do a lot of weddings as well, and I've been lucky that I haven't come across that much here in Australia. But yeah, it is tricky. So it doesn't make it easy for you to be running and gunning and trying to eliminate those frequency happening in your shots.
God, our feed is slow again. It's locking up again.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's sort of going on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, there's very little I can do about it because it's not in my. Wow, it's really bogging in, isn't it? But the live ticker is going, so it's actually still feeding, which is interesting. Yeah, it just seems like a big lockup here. Sorry about this, folks. I think I'll just keep on talking while this is actually going on there.
Yeah.
That feed, it's not good. Have you come in against all this, Quippy? I mean, I know you do a lot of screen reductions and just to combat this this live feed issue. I'm not sure. Yeah, it freezes and runs. Yeah, I think a lot of gamers are actually coming online now, Brett.
Yeah, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, this is terrible how it's actually all locking up.
Funny that because I wasn't getting any of this on my YouTube, on my Facebook last night, live feed. But
yeah, I think it's because it's Sunday night or something. Am I using dual screen? Yeah, I could be. I might be having this dual screen problem.
yeah,
That could be a problem, but I don't know how to turn that off right now. Or just yeah. While I'm trying to sort this out, I'll just go over to this image here. Yeah, and can't handle it. Yeah, we did a lot of testing, Quippy, and it's been running fine. It's just all of a sudden it's just giving us a bit of a headache here. Wow, it's still locked up.
yeah.
It's
It is,
crazy.
Ryan. It is a learning experience and that and so forth, and every time we find something out, we try to rectify it. But depending on the tools that we're given to, so yeah, we're gone.
We're gone, are we?
Yeah.
How crazy is this? Can do we still have audio? Can anyone let us know if we've got audio? Because if this is not running, I might have to redial again and restart. Yeah, this is awful.
I think.
I mean, all the live streams don't worry, guys. Just thought of sharing my
Audio is
experiences.
good.
Stopped using my stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lauren can see the screen.
Yep. So it's still going.
Audio is good. So they can hear us, but they can't actually see the stream.
Video's gone. So
That's crazy. Just want to redial my one and actually just see if it actually comes up.
yeah,
But that's
I think for now,
yeah. For some
we won't
reason,
do.
YouTube is just playing along.
Yeah, I think we won't do any screen sharing. I think that.
Okay, it's come on again now, Brett.
there we
It's
go.
running again, so it's
Yeah,
it's hit and miss at the moment with YouTube because there's just so many people doing live streams and watching tubes, etc.
I had to read.
Yeah, refreshing the viewer worked.
Yeah. Lippy said that
Okay.
see the girl in the water. It's there.
So, yeah, so this girl this girl in the water was actually a shot that I actually took by she was with her boyfriend actually on the beach, and they were using their iPhone and were taking pictures, and I thought I'd just take a snap. I was actually there on the beach taking images of surfers, etc. But with this, what I meant to talk about was actually the highlighting, putting a halo in the back of a person's behind the person. So what I do is I go into my creative. So I select creative, and hang on a second, Brett, and I'll turn this around so you can see what's going on
Yep.
live. So there she goes. Yeah, so with with the with sky replacement, you also get sun rays, which is here. I'll get the drop down, and you'll see that the you can actually place the sun center. And if you place a sun center, you actually get a dot here with Luminar 4.2, that is, and you actually place this basically on top of the person. And if you start, sliding it out.
Audio on, right? So the same. Yeah.
Okay, I've just got to switch over to this one. Can everyone hear us now? Okay, so
think-
I'm just using the other microphone now because the other one is blinked out.
Yeah.
NTG.
Yeah, I think that what's happening, mate, is when you're doing your effects and that, it's taking the load on your system and that, and then you drop
Yeah,
it
it's
out.
taking the load on the system, obviously. But I just wanted to point this out that, so Luminar is very flexible when it comes to this, and you can actually just move this spot around, and you will actually see there's, you'll see some streams coming off there. But if you don't want that much, I mean, you just screw this amount down, and obviously it's going to be more normalized, but you'll actually still retain some halo around the model. Okay. Obviously, you can be more creative with this and just do sky replacement, etc. And
just go crazy with your sky, etc. So that so you will actually have like a blue sky, and as you can see, there's all that mountain range there as well, Brett, and you can actually cover that up.
Yeah.
So so the horizon position is very much out. So it's just a matter of just getting the sliders right, and you'll see that it actually will adjust itself. But I think I'm taking too much of a load at the moment with Skype. I think it's Skype that's actually creating all this.
It takes a lot of processing power when you start doing stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, so you can actually just basically fill up with Sky Global, and then you will actually get rid of this mountain range. It's really interesting how you can cover things over the horizon. You can actually cover it up with sky replacement. Yeah, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I wanted to show more the actual the halo that you can create behind a model, etc. with a sunspot, like a sun behind the actual person. I hope that helps a little bit, with people that are actually interested in Luminar and what Luminar can actually do.
Yep. So we're getting on to a bit over an hour now. So has anybody got any questions and so forth? Camera gear, lenses, anything Sony, or what we've been discussing with Luminar? So we'll have to come to Q&A basically time now. Yeah, most definitely. AI is definitely a thing that you're going to see.
Sorry about that.
And
my audio dropped out again. This audio business. Okay, so what I was talking about is that the AI in other programs like Lightroom and Capture One is going to come more and more to the forefront. I mean, you'll see it happening. You'll see more and more companies adopting AI. It's a never-ending issue with the.
But anyway,
with this micro. Okay, so now I've got
two micro. So I've got the microphone back again now. Look at that.
Yeah.
So the NTG has decided to come back on again. It's crazy. Oh, sorry, Brett. I've got to move my webcam around so you can actually see me.
What was the other question, Lauren? Not sure if you touched on it before, but one cool thing I found with the sunspot and the rays is Luminar is smart enough to work it out if the sun would be placed behind an object. That's correct.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what I showed before, with the model, that you can actually, like do these, just because it places it behind the model, and you can actually make the adjustments with the slider to have it coming more to the foreground or more into the background. So it actually, it's very flexible, this program, and I don't think I've even touched the sides of it. Have you played around with Luminar at all, Brett?
Yeah, Look, I've been
Yeah.
a Illumina user for a long time. I started off with Illumina 18 before they
Yeah.
sort of scrapped that and went to Illumina 3, now Illumina 4. Um,
Yep.
I don't have Illumina 4, but I have Illumina 3. Um, I basically use Illumina as a plugin to Lightroom or Capture One. And whatever I've done in Lumina as for visual effects or enhancing detail or whatever effects that you may need, fog or whatever, and sky replacement and stuff like that. The list goes on at the
Yep.
moment. And when
Yeah.
I done my editing there for the enhancements or the effects that Lightroom or Capture One can't do, and then I send it back into where I was working in. Usually, 99 or 80% of the time I'm in Lightroom, and I'll use Lumina as a plugin. And if I'm working in Capture One, I'm only working really in Capture One because it's the tethering side of things. But usually Lightroom and Lumina go together, and you can do a lot more things
Yep.
without having to go into PS for other things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you can actually do nowadays, where you can. There used to be this sort of like infight with all these programs where one is better than the other, but nowadays you can just like do whatever you need to do in one program and then take it over to another program and then improve it there, etc. So it's it's very flexible nowadays. It's obviously got to do with your wallet size as well, because I mean every program costs money, and also some will charge more than the others, and they want you on this monthly plan as well, on the plan. Hard. You mentioned an Insta picture that I actually had up on Instagram of. I think you were talking about maybe that image with the trees. Not 100% sure which one you actually meant. So I could bring that up quickly and just see if we're talking about the same picture here. And I'll just switch this over quickly so you can actually see it.
Okay, so
in
not so many words, this
sky
sky replacement was also like this is the sky replacement is my image that I took somewhere else. So it's actually not. It does not actually come with the sky replacements in Luminar. This is actually one of my own, and also the because I used that, I could also create the actual water reflection. So the water reflection is the same as, it's a reflection from the sky as well, and you can only do that when you actually import a sky replacement. So you got to have your own JPEGs and import them into Luminar. How that is all done exactly, I mean, I would have to do a whole new show about it to actually show people. But yeah, the water was actually replaced. It was actually a fair bit of work to touch up the detail in the background there, where the actual trees go into the water, because it wasn't actually a perfect. It wasn't a perfect cleanup there, so got to excuse the traffic outside. If anyone can hear the audio, there's it's a bit of a racing track there, so it just comes through the microphone probably. Yeah, so that's probably the image that you were talking about. Yeah, and it's I'm fairly happy with this. I mean, Brett was with me at the shoot. We actually did we did a bit of climbing to get down to this. This was near Hins. This is part of Hins Dam, actually. So
Yep. This
so
is the
it was
back
really
part of
interesting.
it, right? His dam. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So back to us again, Brett. Okay, so so not sure if you touched on it before, but one cool thing I found with the Sunspot and Razer's Luminize Smart, yeah, you are absolutely right, Lauren. I'm just gonna scroll down here. Yeah, so audio was gone, now it's back, and it's yeah, so it's very sorry about that. I'm still trying to find a balance with this audio, and also the lip sync is out, so it's
All over.
yeah, it's
Isn't technology grand and great?
yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah, yeah. Capture One is another program. There was actually an update for Capture One that came in. Well, I saw it today, and I actually didn't update on Capture One.
Capture One had a recent firmware up to date. I think it was lenses, new lenses.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
And Lightroom, PS, RAW. They all came on as well. Updates for them too as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. The sync is actually the best now. It's been the whole show. It is something I can't actually check on because whatever I see here, whatever is going on here, is obviously not the same as what you actually get to see on YouTube. So it's a complicated system what we actually are running. So I'm trying to declutter it a bit and decomplicate it. But there is some hardware that's, it's very hard to get at the moment. It's on order and it's 5 to 6 weeks away. So,
yeah, I was just going to say you got something coming too, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've got an ATEM Mini coming, so that's yeah. So now the sync is good. So thank Christ we actually got something happening, Brett.
Yeah.
that's the good news.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
And it's fun.
Okay, so
since we've ever started doing like Facebook Live, this is where we started and led us on to here now, but it's something we're constantly learning, and
the feed has just died again. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's just
but
never-ending fight.
And Mark's got the NBN. I've actually got. I'm still on the ADSL. So yeah. So it's.
Yeah, but I pretty much know now that it's actually Skype that's actually causing all these issues.
Right.
Because in normal circumstances it wouldn't be straining like this. It is just one of those things where the only way you can do interviews nowadays is via Skype. It's the Messenger will not work. Nothing else works.
Zoom's a bit out of reach at the moment. So yeah. The problem with Zoom is you've only got 40 minutes airtime. That right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Exactly.
Unless you're going.
Yeah, I mean, unless you pay, I think it's. I'm not 100% sure what the actual payment plan is, how much it is, but it's if you go over 40 minutes, then Zoom is expensive.
So, any questions, guys, and so forth?
Yeah, I think we've frozen up again. Have you got feed
I've got
happening
feed
there,
happening.
Brett?
So.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's just constantly locking up on me.
Issues that we're having, but we have been working pretty hard to make sure we can give our best in audio and video at the same time. Paul Mark's got to do all the. He's working behind there with multiple things going on all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just always dealing with all sorts of things. I need a couple of assistants here. That would be good. Okay, so now I just wanted to strike on should you do your own repairs on cameras and lenses. I've heard of certain people that went ahead and did a few repairs on cameras, etc. With should we say varied experience and results. I would not hesitate to actually do minor repairs, for instance, and these are very minor repairs. We're not talking about anything that's got to do with tearing a lens apart or a camera apart. Do not do it. Do not even attempt trying to do that. I mean, that's all. Leave it with a specialist and let them do it. What I was actually coming across was, for instance, Brett had a lens hood that was actually jamming up, and it was through, several years of use, and it was actually seizing up every time he was actually fitting it on.
It just got hard.
There were some. Yeah, it just got really hard and stiff, and we actually resolved that problem by spraying some silicone spray that you can get from an auto store, like Super Cheap here in Australia, or probably an electric shop like J-Car or somewhere. And it is a lubricant, but it's actually a non-oiling lubricant. So it's not like WD-40. It's silicone spray is quite the do-it-all spray that you can actually get. Now, what we did, we just sprayed it onto a cloth, and it was not soaked. It was just a little bit of spray, and we sprayed that on around the edge of the actual thread where the actual lens hood goes on, and I think you don't have any problems anymore, do you?
It's actually Brett? The one he's talking about, which I did to my lens, is the 7200.
Yeah.
F4 version, and and every time I went to undo it and so forth, it just got harder and harder. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you will, but you'll probably see in the inside there's sort of like a white area where it's being rubbed and where it attaches to the screw part. But there was times I could really struggle getting it off and back on. So, but now, since I put that stuff on, that easy now. And we did this about 3 months ago, and it's still not a problem, not an issue. So it hasn't dried out or anything like that. So it's perfect for these sort of things, for your lens hood binding up.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe a lot of people don't know that I've actually got a mechanical background, and it sometimes comes handy, but it's sometimes a murky ground that I walk on, and I sometimes delve into repairs, etc., and do stuff that I shouldn't be doing, but it's my own gear. I got to make my own decisions of when I do it and when I don't do it. I don't want to dwell on it for too long, but when you do those sort of repairs, then you really need specialized equipment, and this kind of equipment is not cheap, and it usually comes like there is things like iFixit, which is basically a kit of tools that actually comes a bit surgically set up, and I'll just open this up, and you can sort of see that it was all all sorts of gear in there, and then it also comes on the inside. It actually comes with a box of all sorts of bits that you can screw on, and this will actually open up just about every computer, anything from MacBooks to iPhones, etc. It will actually do all that, but it's a very expensive kit, and it's more specialized, and it's just one of those things. If you do want to do that kind of work, you need to buy specialized tools, and just make sure that you know all the ins and outs before you do it, and you void your warranty. And it just goes without saying that it's risky business to actually go out there and do that. But yeah, so I mean, I as I said again, I've got a mechanical background, and I think I've got something like a fair bit of tools, should we say? You know, so it's just one of those things where. If you're not 100% sure, do not do it. Do not do it. Yeah, Brett, what do you think? Have you ever done any further repairs or anything like that?
Look, I've had the A2, the A72, where I've had a bit of rubber from the body. On my case, it's out here at the where you normally would have it hold your grip, but I've got a vertical grip on this one. I've had a bit of rubber coming off where the battery slider, actually the cover for the card, just below it, and that was the only repair I had to do. Since then, it's been fine, but anything else internally, something's come apart, or I would highly recommend going to Sony support if you're a member of Sony support. But if you're not, you can still send camera gear like lenses and cameras to Sony support for services. Yes, you might pay a bit more, but if you're in Brisbane, I think there was now a qualified Sony repairer in Brisbane now other than the one.
I think the repair is in Capalaba. Is that right? So it's but I'm not sure how all that is going. If they actually are officially authorized, or if they are actually just doing repairs, and Sony is honouring the warranty through them. Not 100% sure.
No.
Do you know more about
Craig,
it, or?
That mentioned it the other day in the group. I mentioned the one from Victoria. They know the ones from Victoria. They are.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, no, they're in Western Australia, aren't they, or something? South Australia.
So
Yeah.
Have you ever returned anything back to Sony repairs under warranty? What's your experience with being with them in returns process? Well, this camera, I've had this for quite a while, since the A72 was released, and I sent it down. Nothing was wrong with it, but I sent it down for general clean and testing. They sent me up a box for me to put this in, and information to send it back down to them. It took about a week, and it all came back, and I got a phone call from them to say your system has been cleaned and that, and there was nothing wrong with it. They checked everything from inside and out, and when they had sent it back to me, I saw in the information, the docket, they actually did a sensor mapping test, and they remapped the sensor. So they've gone that far to make sure the the sensor is in good nick and everything's working. So I'm not just talking about the sensor itself, but the on the sensor panel there's a layer where the focus points actually line up on the sensor, and that's got to do with your the lenses and stuff. But but I got that done because I was actually a Sony Pro support member. So you pay something like $140 a year, and you get 2 free checkups and clean camera cleaning per year. And
yeah, there's a bit of a caveat there, isn't there, Brett? Where you need to have one Sony camera body.
And you've got to
Sorry,
have
two camera bodies and 3 lenses. Is that right? GM lenses.
1G masters and Gs, or 2G masters in a G and a Sony.
Yeah. So before you can actually be accepted by their program, you just need that set up. So you got to make sure that you got GM, and that was another reason in my previous live stream where I mentioned Sigma and Tamron lenses, that if you are buying those lenses, you might not be able to reach that criteria where you can actually go into that service.
Even if you're not a Sony Pro supporter, you can still get work done through them as well. So it might cost a bit, but knowing that whatever the work they do is going to come back, and you'll have a good camera, and they guarantee all their work they do on their repairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
I mean, I had dealings with Sony as well, where I actually got my 50mm 1.4 Zeiss lens repaired, but it was actually a recall, and I acted on the recall, and they did further work with the lens, and they'd give it a thorough clean out, etc. I think there was a sealing, manufacturing sealing issue with the 50 1.4.
Yeah.
And that was recalled, and it cost me nothing. It was they supplied the box. They everything was paid by them. So it was really good service and very fast. And they constantly kept me up to date of at what stage they were at, whether or not they were waiting for parts, and I had no problems. And when it came back, it was packaged, obviously better than what I did.
So they cover the pages in collection too. Yes, they do. So Yep.
If you are in the system with the $140 a year, yes, it gets covered. You know, so it's a bit of insurance, and they also cover a loaner lens or camera, whatever you need for that period of repair. Yeah, so it's but all the details are actually on the Sony website, and you can actually have a look there and just go through it and decide for yourself if it's worthwhile doing. Yeah. Anyone got any more questions when it comes down to anything that we were talking about? I mean, it's let it fly, you know, like it's now's your chance. This is going to last you guys for another week or so.
30 minutes now.
Yeah, 1 hour 30 minutes. So we're gonna more or less start wrapping it up now. Now the other question was also what would anyone here like to talk about in our next show? I mean, this is going to be on a regular basis, obviously, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Australian time, and I'm always going to set up a schedule of when the next show is on, so people can just come onto my YouTube and have a look what time it's on, and it will show up for whatever
Lauren,
location
that
you're at, anywhere in the world. Lauren is out of questions. Hey, Lauren, tell me, are you already packing for Melbourne, or at what stage are you now? Have you found a place, or how's all that going? Yeah, would like to hear. Yeah, Brett. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. I mean, there was a few more things that I wanted to talk about, but I
Especially
think
the
I'm gonna
lag.
leave it for next time.
Especially the lag,
Especially
and that we had, that sort of
the
just
birds in
made it.
flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lag that we had, we're gonna try and work on that, but that's all up to the
Yeah.
demigods up in YouTube and the internet feed. I think that's
So
what
she's
is the
waiting that to
biggest
hear
issue
the
here with
outcome of a house
Skype, etc.
application, mate. So
Yeah, I hope it goes ahead for whichever way you want it to go.
we will
Lauren,
miss you, Lauren.
we're
Yep.
going to sadly miss you. You know, like, I
Yes.
mean, you're going to
Yeah,
Melbourne. It's
so,
you know, it's going
but
to be a problem.
yeah. Thank you, Kippy. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries, Quippy. It's I know your stream and your live show is always. I think you've been going on it a fair bit. I think it's every second or third day you're doing a live stream. So Brett probably doesn't know about this, but yeah, it's also a very good show, and you actually show off images, etc., and talk about anything
But
cross-reference
guys,
to photography.
and
Yeah,
any
it's
other
really good.
viewers that come to watch this later on, please leave your comments down below. Ask us something. If there's any content that you are interested to ask us, or you got inquiries, or that you might have some problems or whatever, anything from cameras to lenses, and maybe even photography to editing. So it just really depends on how this live stream is going to. If we have a good night that we get no interruptions and so forth, we can do more content. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, we are rock stars here. Yeah, and Quippy, we're all in the same boat, you know. Like, I mean, I've 4 weeks ago, if you would have asked me, are you going to be live streaming? I would have just laughed at you. You know, like it's just one of those complications where you you got to have the right equipment. You got to have a fast
had no
internet.
idea this.
You got to
We
have the
would be
equipment.
doing live. We started off with doing live in Facebook. It's much worse, and technically a lot of people think that's not the right platform to be doing live, but we had to start off somewhere, and I'm still doing live on Facebook for my group, for the Brisbane Althea group, because that's where I want to keep in touch with my members, and that for the Sony Althea group. And then Mark was doing it for his, and then Mark decided to move over to here, do YouTube, because we could.
Yeah, we should just mention for everyone that doesn't know, Brett is a Sony advocate, and he runs his own Facebook group, which is called Sony Alpha Brisbane, and you'll find him there. I'm obviously running another Facebook group as well, which is the Sony, the Photographers Collective, which is another group as well. But we just joined that as well, so we can communicate with people. And we used to do regular photo walks, and we also had workshops going, etc., until all this happened. So we are just really hoping that everyone is just still gonna hold in there and come back to us, and really get stuck back into the walks and all that when once the country opens up, and the world as such, you know. So it's
But anyhow, guys,
interesting. Yeah.
Thanks for everybody.
So has anyone got any more
us
time or
tonight.
anything?
It's great to see you here and
Yeah.
giving us some questions and that. And please be safe. And try and keep innovating with photography, as you saw the photos that Mark and I did this week. And hopefully they sort of inspire you
exactly.
to if you get bored, just go out to the backyard and have a look around, get a macro lens out. Yeah.
Yeah, get stuck into it. And list your photos, we want to see them on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can, like, I mean, it's no good just having them on your laptop and just looking at them yourselves. I mean, do share them, and even if anyone wants critiquing done on their pictures, etc., please, like, if you want critiquing done, you must state that with the picture that you want critiquing done. I same as in Brett's group, we don't slam anyone for the images that they show, and we survey that, and we'll make sure that there's no ill happening when someone actually says that they are critiquing and they're doing a critique and it doesn't make any sense, or it's nasty. We basically kill that off straight away. So if anyone wants to critique images, they should actually have a reason why they actually said what they actually said. Yeah. Yeah, so this wraps it all up, and again, it's been, 2041, so that's been almost
guys,
a good
take care,
bit of time there.
Take these, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, take care, everyone.